Hello, Malak. Can you hear me?
Yes,
How's everything?
it's going good, alhamdulillah.
That's very nice to hear. Hello, Fatima. Welcome. So let me ask you, you've started your school days in Riyadh, right? Your school started, Malak, there or not yet?
Yes, it did.
Yeah, this week, right? Okay, so today, inshallah, we will be talking about Cambridge 0511, which has speaking content. Let me ask you, Malak, what do you know about the difference between content and endorsement before we start? Do you have any idea about the differences between them?
The differences between what?
Between Cambridge English as second language endorsement, speaking endorsement, and speaking accountant. Do you know the differences between them?
I think like one of them, the marks for the speaking are counted in, and one
Mhm.
of them is not.
Yes, perfect. So one of them, the speaking is endorsed, so it wouldn't be counted. But you would have the exam. You would go for the exam, but it will not be counted, the mark. And the other one, the mark would be counted. Today, mainly, we will be speaking about the one that the mark will be counted because this is the one that we are trying to pursue and to have. Simply why? Because if you talk English as second language in Cambridge 0510, which is not counted or it's called endorsement, you would find that the paper one, which is reading and writing, it's 70%. So one mistake would be multiplied by more than one mark, which would affect the score, of course, at the end. It's way better to take it counting in case if your level of speaking is good and you would be able to gain the scores that you want. Today, inshallah, we would be talking about this. We would have a look on the paper itself, how it looks like, and what are the requirements for each paper and so on. And then we will go for the components. We would take writing today and we would take improving writing style as well today. Welcome, Fatima. Fatima,
So,
hello, Fatima. Fatima, I think you already taught Cambridge before, but it wasn't counted, right? Is it true?
can you repeat what you said?
Yeah, I was just asking, you already took the examination before. Is it you or Malak who took the examination before of
No, Malak.
Malak? Yeah, okay, so. Let's find out with each other how the exam would be and what are the marks for each paper, and then we'd go in depth in each paper, inshallah. So we do have paper one right now, which is reading or writing. It's 50% the weightage of the exam. And we do have paper two, the listening, and the weightage is 25%. Right now, I'm talking, as we mentioned before, about counting 0511 or 0991. And you would find here the listening 25% and it's 40 marks. Then the speaking 25%, 40 marks as well. Reading or writing, it would be 2 hours paper, 4 exercises of reading and 2 of writing. Paper two, it's a listening. Now it's only multiple choice, 40 questions, 40 marks. Each question carries 1 mark. And the speaking would be 10 to 15 minutes. Usually it takes between 10 to 12, but sometimes could be till 14 or 15. And we do have this 40 marks given by 4 criteria, one for vocabulary being used, one for structure or grammar, and one for pronunciation and intonation, and the last 10 for development of responses. We'd go in depth, inshallah, and we'd have speaking practices one-to-one related to these. Today, mainly, we would be talking about the first paper, which is reading and writing. We'll find out what are the requirements and why some students drop marks, although they are excellent students, they can do really well. Why they drop marks? How can we avoid this? Let's first of all say that since it's reading or writing, so the exam would be divided into two sections. The reading one, and it has 4 reading exercises. Task 1, 2, 3, and 4, all of them are reading. We usually ask students to finish those 4 exercises in 40 minutes, not more. If it takes more than 40 minutes, so we'll try to be answering more and more till we will be able to finish in less than 40 minutes. Then we do have 2 pieces of writing, 2 exercises, 2 questions. One of them is formal writing and one of them is informal writing. And actually, Cambridge cares a lot about register or the formality. One of the first one is usually the informal one, the informal email or letter, and task 6 is formal or sometimes could be fairly formal or semi-formal, it depends on the task, and we would have a look today, inshallah, on some of these tasks. But here we said paper 1, it's 60 marks. Those 60 marks are divided equally between reading and writing. So 30 marks would be for reading, and another 30 marks would be for writing. Writing 2 tasks and 30 marks, so as you might probably think, 15 marks for task 5 and 15 marks for task 6. When it comes to reading, it would be different. So task 1, 8 marks, task 2, 9 marks, task 3, 7 marks, and the last task, 6 marks. We'll speak about them, inshallah, later on in detail. Let's find out the writing part that we would start with today. Task 5, or exercise 5, you need to write between 120 words to 160 words. Does it mean if I wrote less than 120, the minimum, if I wrote than 120 words, I would drop marks? Of course you would. Why? Because it wouldn't be detailed. And we would find out why actually if you wrote less than 120, it would be not correct answer. And doesn't, of course, go to the highest band, whether in content or language even. Does it mean if I wrote more than 160, the maximum, I would draw marks? No. You can write 170, 180, and it goes for the full mark in case if you don't have language mistakes. And of course, you covered the content requirements. So if I wrote 170, okay, 180, okay, but we ask students to avoid writing too much because whenever you write more, so it's probable that you might have some language mistakes, punctuation, spelling, and these mistakes. So that's why we say try to avoid writing more. We would speak about how can we analyze the task even before we put pen to paper to be sure that we can go for the high spans, inshallah. This task, the type, is usually an informal email or letter. Yes, we do have some types of informal email or letter. Could be narrative, could be descriptive narrative, and so on. But all of them are informal email or letters, so we expect you to be using some informal features. Malak, what do you think the informal features could be? What makes your writing informal?
Slang language.
Okay, continue. I would comment about this, but continue. So you said slang. What else? Let me ask you some questions and tell me, would it be formal or informal? Would I use contractions or full form?
In the informal or in the
Informal.
formal?
Yes, I'm talking about informal right now.
Contractions.
Excellent. So contractions. Would I use academic words or simple words?
Simple ones.
Yeah, simple words. Yes, I can use less common vocab, but not academic ones. Yeah, that's perfect. When it comes, for example, to active or passive, would I use active voice or passive voice while I'm writing informal?
Active.
Excellent. But passive would be with the formal. Amazing. Would I use idioms or I should refrain from using idioms?
Idioms.
Excellent. I
We should use
use generalization or personalization.
personalization.
Excellent, that's perfect. So these are the ones that could be used while I'm writing informal. Some punctuation marks could work well with informal, like exclamation mark and so on. But let me say something about the first point you mentioned, Malik. Slang shouldn't be used in writing at all because slang simply is not proper English. So wanna, gonna, and these words are not in the dictionary. Even if you found them, it's slang and it's not going to be counted as correct English. Does it mean if I use them in speaking, I'll drop marks? No, speaking is different part. But slang, while you are writing informal or formal or any writing, avoid using them. Slang is not proper English. This is one of the points that we need to watch out for, because some students unfortunately use them while they are writing, and it won't be accepted in writing at all. Although I know that the examiner, the one who is checking to you, he might be using them. He might be texting them, but in writing, they are not accepted at all. This is for task 5. It's always informal email or letter. We would have some samples. We do have our notes for them. We would go in depth with them and would see how could we be written, and we will check, inshallah, some related to the informal email or letter. It's 15 marks. Those 15 marks are divided into 2 criteria. One of the criteria is the content, and the other one is the language. The content is 6 marks, but the language is 9 marks. How can I go to the highest band here? And then we would speak after this slide about them. Then exercise 6, which is formal writing. Again, 120 to 160, the same point. You shouldn't write less than 120, but you can exceed 160 in case if you need it. Avoid exceeding in case if you don't need, if you already covered your stuff. Does it mean I should be counting how many words did I write? No, you shouldn't be counting. But for example, the line, you usually write 8 words in the line, so you can count the lines and so on. But the point of since counting how many words and writing at the end, it doesn't work. No need for this, because it would be clear to them without counting the words if you didn't get that 120. If you exceeded, he wouldn't drop you for exceeding the 160 words, but he would drop you in case if you do have language mistakes. Those 120 to 160 words should be written in one of the 4 types of writing for task 6. What they are, it's article, report writing, essay writing, or review. Again, article, report, essay, or review. Of course, each one of these has a lot of types. We'll deal with all of them, inshallah, in details, but just these are the 4 types that we need to focus on. So, Fatima, let me ask you, task 5, is it formal or informal?
Informal.
Excellent. It's an informal one. Should I use while I'm writing task 5 idioms, or I should refrain from using idioms?
Use idiom.
Excellent. That's perfect. Fatima, let me continue with you. When it comes to exercise 6, would it be formal or informal? Usually
Formal.
formal, yes. Sometimes it comes as semi-formal. And this is one of the points that we would speak about while we are analyzing our task. So for example, the review writing, it's not formal. Why? Because the review writing, you would find you're using a first-person point of view. My opinion, I think, I believe, I watch it and this stuff. But if it's formal, you shouldn't use first-person point of view. Essay writing, it's extremely formal. Report writing, it's extremely formal. But article writing, it's fairly formal. What do you mean fairly formal? When it comes to register, we don't have formal and informal and semi-formal only. They are not only 3, they are 5. We do have formal, the highest one, informal, the lowest one, semi-formal, the middle, but between semi-formal and the formal, we have something called fairly formal. And between semi-formal and informal, we have something called fairly informal. And here you would find that the article goes in the fairly formal. It's not semi-formal, but again, it's not formal. What should I do in order to be this? Write it like if it's formal, but give it 1 or 2 features of informal, like 1 contraction, 1 idiom, and that's it. But when it comes to review, it's a semi-formal. So you need to go and come. So it's not 1 feature or 2 features to be used. No, you need to use some. But at the same time, you can use some academic words and so on. We'll speak about them in details once we speak about each genre of them. Here it comes to the marking criteria. What I always say, a student started writing without knowing the requirements for the highest band in the marking criteria, it means he's wasting or she's wasting their time. And they're wasting the trial that they are using. Why? Because simply they might write something perfect and they would drop all of marks. Why? Because there are some requirements he or she didn't meet. Why? Because they didn't read this. I always tell my students who are taking, for example, May June, from day one, memorize this stuff in the highest band. I don't want you to memorize all of the marking criteria. Just the highest band. You need to know, because this is your checklist. You need to know what you are going to be marked accordingly. So in order to go to the highest band content, you need to meet these requirements. One of them, the task is fulfilled. What does it mean? For example, if it's task 5, if it's exercise 5, there are 3 bullet points. You need to cover them well, and you would find that this email is to inform or to narrate or to persuade or whatsoever. So you need to do this task. The content is fully relevant throughout, so you didn't go off topic. And here you would find that this is the difference between the highest band, 6 or 5 marks, and the second band. Here it's the task is fulfilled, but here he says generally fulfilled, like 80% or something. Here the content is fully relevant. All of the writing is on topic. The student didn't go off topic. But here the content is generally relevant. So it means that he or she went covered something which wasn't needed and returned it back. Then he says consistently appropriate style. What do we mean by style? Here we mean the register again. And the register would be repeated. So the style that you are using, formality and so on, it's clear and it is relevant to the type of writing, if it's formal or informal. Next one, excellent sense of purpose and audience. So you know why you are writing and to whom you are writing, because it affects the word choice and the structure that you are using, the technique of writing, all of this would be affected. Last point in this criteria, content is very well developed. So you went well from one point to another point, your paragraphs were well organized and so on and so forth. This is for this band. So you need to memorize those 5 points, or at least I'll tell you what, you can print this marking criteria, put it in front of you where you are studying. So wherever you are sitting, whenever you are standing, your eyes look at them, so you know what exactly you would be taking the mark accordingly, and what if you didn't know, you might drop marks. This is for the highest band. I don't really care about other bands because we are not going to target them. We target here this band and we target the 6, not the 5. The difference between 6 and 5, it depends on, for example, a student did 4, but the 5th one wasn't that really clear, or did 3 and the other 2 ones weren't that really clear. So here, this is the difference between them. This is for content. How can I get the full mark in language? Again, I would talk about the highest band. How can I get the 7 to 9? And here we would say, we do have 2 parts to care about, range and accuracy and organization. Range and accuracy, you would find that the content is communicated skillfully and appropriately. What does it mean? That no fragments were given in your writing. So all of the sentences make sense, all right? So it's communicated skillfully and appropriately. The sentences convey the purpose that you wanted. So you didn't write and you don't know why you are writing the sentence, so you'd find that sentence is just delivering different meaning from what you intended to say. Use wide range of common and less common vocab appropriately. What do we mean by common and less common vocab? Common vocab, the words that are simple, used by anyone. Less common vocab, they are a bit advanced vocab, or we can say topic-related vocabulary. So you're talking about, for example, a celebration, so some words which are related to celebration, traveling, so some words which are related to traveling. Do you know the boarding paper and so on? These words are related to traveling. The air flight, if it's, for example, one way or it is return, all of these are topic-related vocab. So it doesn't have to be a word that no one knows, but it's related to the topic that you are writing about. And less common vocab are important not only in task 6, but even in task 5. This marking criteria for both, for task 5 and task 6. So even if it's informal, I need less common vocab, which you mean topic-related vocabulary, or words which are not being used in everyday talks. Uses wide range of simple and complex structure. And actually, when we speak about complex structure, today we'll try to give a hint about it. Let me, before I go any further, what comes to your mind, Fatima, when I speak about complex structure? What do you think complex structure the examiner cares about to find in your writing? And if he didn't use in your writing, he might not go to the highest band and he would go to the second one. What comes to your mind? Fatima? Fatima, are you there?
Yes.
Yes, I was asking you about structure, less common structure. What comes to your mind? What could be less common structure or advanced structure? Complex structure.
The difference between the advanced structure and the normal structure?
Yeah,
Is this what are you asking?
sorry?
Is this what are you asking?
Yes, this is what I'm asking. What is complex structure? You know?
Complex structure has complex sentences,
Okay, so
has
complex
a lot of
structure. What else?
conjunctions and connectors.
Okay, good. Look, you
There's
mentioned one type of them. Perfect. Do you want to add more? Go ahead.
no on them.
Okay, perfect. Look, you mentioned one of them, which is complex sentences. We do have the simple sentences, the compound sentences, and the complex sentences or compound complex sentences. Yes, complex sentences, it's complex structure, but this is only one type of the complex structure. The complex structure goes to some other types, 6 sentences. Let me ask you, Malak, have you heard about something called the cleft sentence? Yes, Malak, have you heard about something called the cleft sentence?
No.
Okay, this is one of the complex structure that we'd be talking about. Relative clauses, Malak, do you remember them?
Huh?
Relative clauses, do you remember them? You remember something called the relative clause?
Is that the words you use to close a sentence or a paragraph?
Again, I didn't hear you. What did you say?
Is it the words you use to close a sentence or a paragraph?
Yeah, it's the sentence about relative clause when you add more information to the clause using who or which or that, the relative pronouns, then you add more. This is another way of complex structure that is needed. Today, inshallah, we'll speak about 6 techniques of complex structure that are really needed. So it's not only complex sentences. Yes, complex sentences, Fatima, they are needed. This is complex structure, but not the only technique to be used. If you use only this, so don't think that you really deserve to be in the highest band, even if you don't have mistakes. That's why we say understanding that the marking criteria is really important. If you don't understand it, you are going to go to the exam while you are just, it's English and I'm answering, but you don't know what exactly he wants from you. So we'd speak about what other complex structure, what is cleft sentence, what are relative clauses, what is inversion sentences or inverted sentences, and so on. High level of accuracy of language. Occasional errors may occur or may be present, but these do not impede the communication. What do you mean by this? So no mistakes, whether subject-verb agreement, whether pronoun antecedent agreement, or any other type of language mistakes, spelling and punctuation, of course, and so on. Even if they are there, they would be occasional, so it's not persistent, it's not every sentence or every paragraph, but they are few, and those few ones, they don't change the meaning. So you didn't use their THERE instead of their THEIR. Because if you change it this instead of this confusing words, it might change the meaning. So if it impeded the meaning or stopped the communication, so of course it wouldn't be in this band. But if it didn't impede the meaning and you do have a mistake, could be in this band, but of course it wouldn't be 9. Could be 7 or 8. Last part, which is related to organization, so effectively organized and sequenced, so well-written paragraphs, and you know the difference between, for example, report writing, between essay, and how can you write this and how can you write that. And the last part here uses wide range of linking words or other cohesive devices. Linking words are extremely important to be used. Linking words, some of them are formal, some of them are informal. So yes, linking words are extremely important. Before I go any further, do you have any question about these parts? Do you have any question about this, Malak?
السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
ازيك يا مستر؟ ازي حضرتك؟
الحمد لله بخير والله من معي.
هما ما عندهمش سؤال بس انا عندي سؤال.
اتفضل تحت أمر حضرتك.
انا يعني حبيت اسمع يعني اول المقدمه اللي عملتها حضرتك. انا بس في نقطه، انت كلمه واحده انت قلتها، انا حاسس ان هي دي مشكلته.
اللي
ان
هي
هو ان انتوا تعتبروا انه ده امتحان انجليش واحنا نحل. هما المشكله بسبب ان هما الدراسه طبعا كلها انجليش، فبالتالي الانجليش بالنسبه لهم تريكي جدا يعني.
مهم.
يعني ملك ما شاء الله مستواها كويس جدا، الفوكابلري بتاعها كويس جدا وبتتكلم كويس وكل حاجه، بس لما دخلت الاكزام انا كان تخوفي علي فاطمه ان هو الانجليش سهل. بس انا حاسس ان هي وفاطمه ممكن يحصل معاها كده ان تدروب بوينت بسهوله.
اسمح لي أشوف حضرتك ولا صعب دلوقتي؟
لا ممكن جدا، بس الكاميرا للاسف
خلاص، طب
بتاعت اللابتوب
اتفضل اتفضل، أنا
فيها
سامع
مشكله.
حضرتك، أنا سامع حضرتك،
ف...
اتفضل.
فعشان كده انت لمست يعني لمست ايه حته مهمه، انا كنت قلقان منها جدا
لا
ومبسوط
حبيبي،
ان انت بتشرح الاستراكشر بتاع الاكزام بالتفصيل ده.
ربنا يحفظك. هو الفكرة كلها زي ما كنت يمكن حضرتك خدت بالك وأنا بتكلم معاهم إن الطلبة، يعني إحنا دي يعني شغلانتنا بقالنا كتير. فالطلبة وهم داخلين الاختبار شوية الإنجليش، عشان هم من كي جي فبقالهم 13 سنة بياخدوا الإنجليش، ومنهم طلبة كتير بيبقوا خدوا الامتحان أصلا إنجليش از فيرست لانجوج، أو اتدربوا عليه كده، فبيبقوا حاسين إن الامتحان بسيط، فبيخشوا شوية إن ده إنجليش وهنعرف نتعامل معاه. للأسف طول ما أنت مش فاهم دماغ الإكزامينر هو بيفكر إزاي أو بيصحح إزاي، فانت هتبقى بتأدي من دماغك انت. فده اللي احنا كنا بنحاول نتكلم فيه، ان هو انت لازم تعرف هو عاوز منك ايه عشان تعرف تجيب الدرجه ازاي. انا هنا مش ببقى داخل اشو اوف مثلا او الكلام ده كله، لا، انا داخل اجيب الدرجه اللي انا عاوزها. انا عاوز الستار، انا عاوز، الحمد لله احنا معانا طلبه جايبين رانك السنه دي، معانا طلبه جايبين 160 اوت اوف 160، وهيبقوا اورلد اتشيفرز ان شاء الله، لان هم بيبقوا فاهمين بالظبط ايه المطلوب منهم. كل بورد حتى، يعني لو الطالب ادى كويس جدا وجاب اورلد اتشيفر في كامبريدج، لو دخل اوكسفورد من غير ما يعرف الاكزامنر في اوكسفورد بيبقى مستني ايه، ممكن ما يجيبش الناين اصلا. فهي بتبقى الفكره ان انت محتاج تعرف ايه. فان شاء الله خير، يعني في اثناء الكورس ان شاء الله
طب
نقدر
خير.
نوصل النقطه اللي احنا عاوزينها.
خير، انا اسف على المقاطعه
لا لا، انت
وعلى
نورتنا يا
وقتك،
فندم، ربنا يحفظك، انت شرفت جدا
وحبيت
بحضرتك.
اسلم عليك بس.
ربنا
ربنا
يحفظك،
يبارك
لينا
فيك.
الشرف يا فندم، ربنا يسعدك ويبارك فيك يا رب.
معاك يا شباب
لينا
كلكم،
الشرف، اتفضل
شكرا.
يا فندم. الله يحفظك. Okay, so returning back, so do you have any questions about the content or the language before we proceed or go any further? Okay, so I would consider no, because your dad already told me, if he's your dad, he told me that everything is clear. But so far, what we spoke about, the difference between content and endorsement. The content, we said that the mark of speaking would be counted, and this would be helpful because the mistake reading or writing wouldn't be multiplied by 1.5 or something, right? Then when it comes to the part after, we spoke about the two tasks, 5 and 6, the writing ones. Malak, do you remember task 5? Is it the formal or the informal? Yes, Malak.
Uh, it's the informal.
Excellent. Fatima, task 6, which is formal one, it could be 1 out of 4. Do you remember them? Yes, Fatima, you are muted. Yes, do you remember what are the 4 types of
Report,
writing? Report, excellent.
report, the article, the
Article, so
essay,
report and article, essay, excellent. And the last one is review writing. Review writing. Inshallah, each one of them will talk about in details. But today, we would start by report writing. Then I would give you like 10 minutes break or something, and we would return back to speak about the structure and the different types of structure. So the report writing that goes right now, let's look with each other. What is report writing? If you don't mind, watch this
Welcome back to the
video.
channel.
Okay, so we'll watch a video first, then we would continue. Okay.
Hey there. Welcome back to the channel. If you're revising for the IGCSE ESL exam or looking for top tips to write a report, you're in the right place. Today, we're looking at the important steps to help you write a brilliant report that will score you those top marks. Before we start, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss out on our helpful content. Now, let's get started. The first step in writing a report is to understand its purpose. The main purpose of a report is to give information and make suggestions to the reader. Next up, analyze the task. Read the question or prompt carefully and any specific guidelines. You should identify your audience, likely someone in charge or a teacher, and understand that a report should be written in a formal register. It should be well organized with subheadings. You must have an introduction, information about your findings or observations, and give some suggestions.
Okay, so I would return back to the part that we were just talking. What
there.
are the things that we really need
You're
in report writing? This question, try to watch for it. We'll watch the video again, but try to find out what are the features of reports again, okay?
Hey there. Welcome back to the channel. If you're revising for the IGCSE ESL exam or looking for top tips to write a report, you're in the right place. Today, we're looking at the important steps to help you write a brilliant report that will score you those top marks. Before we start, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss out on our helpful content. Now, let's get started. The first step in writing a report is to understand its purpose. The main purpose of a report is to give information and make suggestions to the reader. Next up, analyze the task. Read the question or prompt carefully and any specific guidelines. You should identify your audience, likely someone in charge or a teacher, and understand that a report should be written in a formal register. It should be well organized with subheadings. You must have an introduction, information about your findings or observations, and give some suggestions. This will be your roadmap to success. Let's look at an example of an IGCSE ESL report question. Here, the audience is the headmaster, so the report's tone should be impersonal and relatively formal. The report aims to give feedback and suggestions to the headmaster about how the after-school activities have been running and how it could be improved next term. You can use some of the ideas from the comments in your report, but you should expand on them or include other ideas of your own. The number of words required is 120 to 160. Pay attention to the word limit, as it will help you to plan your time in the examination more efficiently. So, once you have read through the task and before you start writing, you should plan how many paragraphs you need and what ideas you want to include in each paragraph. Create an outline for your title, introduction, findings, and suggestions. A well-thought-out plan ensures a logical flow in your report. Let's look at a plan for a report. Use bullet points to help organize the ideas you want to include in each paragraph. An engaging title isn't a top priority. Therefore, you can take words from the prompt and make the title clear so it immediately conveys the report's purpose. Begin your report with a concise introduction that outlines the purpose and scope of the report. In the next paragraph, tell the headmaster about the positive changes, and in the following paragraphs, mention some areas for improvement. In the last paragraph, offer a couple of suggestions with a brief conclusion highlighting the benefits it would bring to the school. Are you ready to write an informative report? First, add your title. Remember, an engaging title isn't necessary as you're writing it to the headmaster. Just make sure it is clear and relevant to the question. The first sentence introduces the topic of the report and the purpose of writing it. The second sentence states the scope and focus of the report. The introduction should be short and to the point, explaining why you are writing this report. Now let's talk about the next paragraphs. These provide a mixture of facts and opinions from students about the positive changes and areas for improvement. Notice the use of subheadings, as these show the reader what information can be found in each paragraph. This report uses a range of linking words and phrases, appropriate for the report's style and register, and a range of topic-related vocabulary. There are also examples of the passive voice and reported speech, which show a more formal style typical for a report. A good tip is to begin with the positives rather than the negatives when writing a report because it sets a constructive tone and makes criticism more impactful. The final paragraph is where you include a summary and your recommendations, solutions, or suggestions. This report has suggestions which fulfill the task you have been asked to write. Remember to still maintain a formal style with appropriate transitional words and phrases, and use could and would to suggest a possible way to do something. Finally, We include a possible outcome if these suggestions are implemented. Okay, let's recap on how to write a successful report for your exam. You're writing a report for someone who is in charge, so use a formal register and be informative. Add passive voice and reported speech to make your report sound more formal. You should make sure the task is fulfilled with the correct structure for a report with facts and opinions, and don't forget your suggestions at the end. You should use a wide range of vocabulary related to the topic, and a range of simple and complex sentences that are grammatically correct. Finally, don't forget to use linking words and phrases, so you can effectively organize and sequence your report.
Okay, so let me ask you, when it comes to report writing, what are the features that you might have got from this video or you already know? Let me start with you, Malik. So what do you think the features of report writing should be?
It has to be active passive.
Okay, so we use more passive, you mean, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this is because it's formal, but I'm talking right now about the features, how it looks like. So how,
It has to have a title
okay, so we need the title here,
and
good point.
an introduction.
Okay, so we need something called subheadings, all right? So the subheadings, it's a unique feature, by the way, for report writing. You wouldn't find it there in article. We don't use it. You wouldn't find it there in essay. We don't have subheadings. Yes, we might use it while we are writing review, but it's not a must in review, but it is a must in report writing. What is subheading? It's like a title or a heading before each paragraph. So as you have just mentioned, Malak, we do have introduction. So I would write introduction, then I would give the introduction. This we don't do with article or essay, it's just with the report. So subheadings like article, like introduction, what other subheadings could be used?
For the findings, like first of all,
Findings? Go
the
ahead.
new stuff that happened,
Sorry, I didn't hear.
and the
After
problem.
findings, what did you say?
I'm saying we need a subheading for the like any subheading for the new stuff that happened and one for improvements, which is
I,
testing.
I understand. That's totally fine. Good. So look, we do have to need to use some subheadings. Those subheadings could be like adapted according to the question. So for example, a question about a field trip, you went with the trip in school. So I might have after the introduction summary, and I would write summary of the trip. Or I might write findings if it's not about this, if it's about a facility or whatsoever. So it might be findings, might be positive points, might be negative points. So the subheadings are changeable. Usually we do have the introduction, the findings, the suggestions, and the conclusion. Sometimes we might have summary before findings if it was a trip, if it was an event, any event, careers day, whatsoever. So it could be a summary before. Is it a must? No, it's not a must. But what is a must? Whenever you write a subheading, the content in the paragraph after should be related to this subheading. So don't tell me findings, then you suggest. Don't tell me suggestions and you tell me about the problems. No, please. The problems could be with findings, could be with negative points. Watch out that the subheading that you're using represents what is after in the paragraph. Clear? What else? So right now,
Yes.
it's about subheadings and the title. You told me about passive. What else did you notice? Yes, Malak, I was waiting for you.
Oh, you want like
Other features. Did you notice anything else? Look, I would say what? First of all, it's formal, it's impersonalized, and I can use some words from the question itself. But before we say anything, I want to say that nothing called writing without analysis to the task. Again. Reading the question, getting the pen, and going to the paper, start writing, this is terribly wrong. We have to analyze the question first. Because if you didn't analyze the question, you might go off topic. And if you went off topic, even just one paragraph or whatsoever, you would never go to the highest band. So you need to understand the task well to avoid, oops, what was it? How did I write this? So how do we analyze? Usually, Malak, usually Fatima, whenever it comes to writing, how do you analyze your task, or you just go directly and write? And if you analyze
I
things, how
read
do
the
you analyze?
question.
Okay, good. You
I
read
read the question يعني twice,
Hmm?
and then I see the points he's asked me to do. يعني for example, in the report or like the email, sometimes he says no, write about this and this and this. So I make sure no, they're like included in the whole writing, and I
Yeah.
write bullet points if I need to.
Yeah, that's perfect. Good. This is really nice. But to make it systematic and to be sure that the marking criteria that we were talking about, and we said we need to memorize it and so on, that we are going to perform well, we use a technique called CARP, C-A-R-P. Have you heard about it, Fatima, before?
No,
Okay. Any idea about it, Malak? Have you thought?
no.
Okay, so what is CARP? CARP, C-A-R-P. Each letter of them stands for a word. So the C stands for a word, A stands for a word, R stands for a word, and P stands for a word. What are these, and what do I really need while I'm analyzing the question? C stands for content. So, for example, if it is task 5, he gives me 3 bullet points. I need to be sure that I would cover them before even writing. I need in front of each bullet point to write a sentence or a phrase or whatsoever to remind me that I would cover it. Because if I dropped one of these points, I would never be able to go to the highest band, even not to the highest mark. So the content. Another point, what type of genre I'm writing. This is related to content as well. I'm writing review or report and so on. This could happen while you are reading. You might underline the word review or article or whatsoever, but it's better while you are analyzing to write it's, for example, a review or a report and so on. The most important point, if it's task 5, to write in front of each bullet point what we do. If it is task 6, which is article or essay or report or review, he gives you 4 comments. But if you depended mainly and only on them, you will never get the full mark. You need to use some of your own. That's why while you are analyzing the question he gives you 2 positive comments and 2 negative comments. Most of students, unfortunately, they go, and I'm sorry to say, well, I had some drinks with Cambridge, with the chief examiner, and I found teachers who teach IGCSE. They are really nice people and so on. But they don't care much about adding more ideas. So please, it's really important. Add more ideas. He gives you 2 positives and 2 negatives. You need to add 1 more positive and 1 more negative, at least. And if you are using those 2 ones or one of them or whatsoever, you need to rephrase it. You can't use it with the same words it's written there. But مثلا, if I didn't use any of the comments he gave to me, is it okay? Yes, totally fine. Is it preferable not to use at all? No, you can use one, but don't make it the first one that you use. Make the first one use your own one for the positive one. And the other one, if you would use from the ones that he gave to you, rephrase it. Use it in different words, okay? So this is for content. Then now I didn't go to even A. I'm talking about C. So the content, while I'm analyzing the question, I would come here. He gave me 2 positives, I would add 1 positive point. He gave me 2 negatives, I would add 1 negative. This is task 6. Task 5, in front of each bullet point, I would write how would I cover it. So for example, how did you feel about the experience? I would say relax it or over the moon or whatsoever. This is not the writing, this is just analyzing. If I analyze the task well, I do have my tools. I would just go to writing and I'm organizing them in a perfect way, and that's it. Caring about how the sentence looks like and so on. But the idea and the content is already ready. After the content, I do have A. So before going to A, content again, if it's task 5, I need to write in front of each bullet point, how would I cover it? If it is task 6, I would add 1 positive, 1 negative at least. Audience, A. Is to whom am I writing? If it's task 5, usually it's to a friend, to a cousin, or whatsoever. Accordingly, the register would be affected, which is R. So A, audience. R, register. Is it formal or is it informal? Or is it semi-formal? Or is it fairly formal? Like, for example, article, it's fairly formal, not formal, fairly formal. If it's review, semi-formal. Report, formal. Essay, formal. Informal, if it's a email or letter to a friend. If the email or letter to your uncle could be fairly informal, to a parent of your friend. So fairly informal, not semi-formal, but not too informal. Again, slang, avoid it at all. Slang is not proper English. Don't say gonna and wanna and these points, all right? Then B, it's the purpose. Why am I writing? Am I writing to narrate a situation? So I would use a specific introduction. If it's task 5, for example. Am I writing to, for example, here, when it comes to report writing, in the introduction, you need to say the purpose. If you finish the introduction without saying the
Mr. I have,
it would be wrong. Yes, Malak.
I have a question about the slang language.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I get that saying gonna and wanna is wrong, but what about the words that like that are like actual words just used in the slang, like used commonly among people?
I know if it's not proper English, if it's not in the dictionary as proper English, it shouldn't be used. Even Magana and wanna, it's used between people. It's okay. I can say I want to be with you. So
How do you know if something is proper English or not?
do you read it in the academic books, in the books? Not doesn't have to be academic books. Is it there
No.
in the books, or is it just in movies and songs and this stuff? Is it you would know because it's really simple. Wanna, you would never read it in a book, right? You would never
I
read
know, but I'm
it.
talking about the words that are like actually there,
Give
like
me
the
an
word
example, and
diva.
I'll tell you.
Like,
Is
can you
it
not use it?
so? It depends on the word itself because you are talking right now specifically about something. So tell me about the word, and I'll tell you. Yes, here it
Like,
is.
okay, the word diva.
Sorry.
The word diva.
No, it's not. You go to the dictionary, you wouldn't find that this word is being used in proper English. So avoid slang. If it's speaking Malak, it would be accepted. If it's speaking, if I said I want to go and so on, we accept it and you might go to the full market, it's totally fine. But if it is not speaking, if it's writing, no, you need to stick to the proper English ones. This is for register purpose. Back to the last letter. P stands for purpose. And in report writing, if you didn't mention the purpose in the introduction, it would be a mistake. In the introduction, we give 2 sentences for a report, since we are talking about report. We start after the title. The title, of course, has to be capitalized. The initials, of course. So the initial of each word has to be capital letter. You can underline it, you can leave it, it's totally fine, but it needs to be centered, capitalized, underlined. If you do underline it, it's not a mistake. Then the subheading, capitalize the initial, the I for introduction. Then you go to the first paragraph. The first paragraph, we do have topic-related phrases. We need to memorize them to be able to use them. The aim of this report is to highlight, for example, the main findings or the observations on, and you'd speak about what's the task I was asking. Once you finished the first purpose, because any report has 2 purposes. So the first purpose, the main purpose or the main aim or this report is written to highlight. Once you finish the first sentence, full stop. Furthermore, capital letter with F, or moreover, capital letter with M. So any linking word, but formal linking word, because we have informal linking words like plus, like and this stuff. Then comma, it also provides suggestions for future enhancements. So 2 sentences have to be there. Again, before we go to this in details, what are the carb? What are the forward stand for carb? Do you remember, Fatima?
You want me to say what does each letter
Yeah, so
represent?
carb. First of all, would I use carb before I write or after I write?
Can you repeat what you said?
Would I use carb before I write or after I write? After I write the task or before?
Before.
Before, excellent. Why before? Because I'm analyzing. So what does each word stand for?
C stands for continent.
Excellent.
A for audience. R
Audience,
for
excellent.
resistance.
Perfect. And the P stands for
Purpose.
purpose. Amazing. And we said C is the most important one here because if it's task 5 would be a bit different from task 6. Those are the carb or the 4 points that I need to analyze my task while using. We said that here is a question. So if you don't mind, Malak, can you give us a hint? Your school has, can you read it to us? Your school has?
Your school has recently received some money to improve the library. Your teacher has asked you to write a report. In your report, describe what students use the school library for and suggest how the school library could be improved.
So here are some
Here
comments
are,
from other students. Go ahead. Yes, I have found.
Here are some comments from other students. I have found lots of useful information in the library. The library is the best place for studying. Sometimes the library is really noisy. Ebooks are needed in the library. Now write a report for your teacher giving your views. The comments above may give you some ideas, and you should also use ideas from your own. Write about 120 to 160 words. You will receive up to 6 marks for your content of your report and up to 9 marks for the language used.
That's perfect. Thank you so much, Malak. So, Malak, right now I'm doing my COP. I'm doing the content audience register and PEPs. Because content usually takes more time than others, so I would start with ARP, then I would go to C. So the audience here, I'm writing this to my teacher, so your teacher has asked you. So the register, it's of course formal. I'm writing it to teacher. Another point, it's report. And the purpose, why am I writing this? So here he asked me to write it to speak. Your teacher has asked you to write a report. In your report, describe what students use. So to say main findings, right? And suggest how the school library could be improved. So two ones. And even he writes and in bold to show you that we do have two purposes. One of them to describe and the other one is to suggest. I would use the same words from the question, it's totally fine, in the introduction. So this is the purpose. Content. Here he said, I have found lots of useful information in the library. I want your help here, Fatima. Is it positive comment or is it negative one? Yes, Fatima, are you there?
First comment?
I found lots of useful information. Is it positive or negative?
Positive.
Excellent. Continue with me, Fatima. Sometimes the library is really noisy.
Negative.
Good. Here I can put plus sign, and here I would put minus sign, so I would know that this is negative, this is positive. The library is the best place for studying. Is it positive or negative?
Positive.
Great. Ebooks are needed in the library. Is it positive or negative about our library, about our school library?
It's negative, but
Or it could be
it's
as a suggestion even for the future. Perfect. So right now, before I start writing, I need to find one negative and one positive point. And I would start in the content while I'm writing by then, not in the introduction, of course, but when it comes to findings and suggestions. I wouldn't start the findings and suggestions by those ones. I can use them, yes, but rephrase them. Again, we are writing for. This task, the first one, I already prepared it to you. It's already written here. So if you don't mind, Fatima, can you give us a hint? Can you see it? Can you read it to us?
Can you zoom in?
Yeah, but I think if I zoomed, you wouldn't be. You can come closer to it, or you can zoom it using your screen, because if I zoomed, this is presentation, so it might change, right? Can you come closer to it? I can read it to you.
This report aims to outline and highlight our class experience at the Careers Day event organized by Al Wadi International School in February 19th. Furthermore, ample suggestions are provided to
Enhance.
enhance future events.
That's perfect. So I would stop here. That's amazing. So look, let's find out the points that we were talking about for the report writing. First of all, do I have a title or not? I have a title. Initials are capitalized. I did it underline, and we said it's up to you. You can underline or not. Here he said we started with subheading introduction. Here we do have 5 subheadings: introduction, summary, findings, suggestions, and conclusion. Does it have to be 5? No, it could be only 4. I can go with findings, suggestions, and conclusion. Can I change the subheadings to be, for example, positive points and negative points? It's totally up to you, but just while you are analyzing your question, try to find out what are the subheadings that you are going to use. Here in the introduction, we said we need 2 sentences and a linking word in between. So the first sentence here, this report aims to. This is a talk-related phrase that we would memorize when we take our notes, inshallah. If we registered it to the course, of course, the notes would be sent to you. To outline and highlight our class's experience at the Careers Day event. So this is the first purpose. Organized by the name of school that you are with and the date. First up, capital letter for the linking word. Linking word has to be formal because it is report writing. So furthermore, if capital, comma, ample suggestions are provided to enhance future events. Here, if you looked, ample suggestions are provided. Is it active or passive, Malak? Ample suggestions are
It's
provided.
passive.
Excellent. I started with the object. I didn't start with the subject. I didn't say who provides, but we said are provided. And this is the passive, and this is the difference when we start with the object and then we continue. Then summary writing, and we continued with the summary writing. First and foremost, so here he would narrate what happened and so on. So the event was designed and so on. This is a sample that would be sent to you about the report writing. Here, we would take 10 minutes break, then we would return to speak about some complex structure. And report writing, of course, takes more time, but I wanted to show you how it would be. You do have 10 minutes break and would return back. 7:10 or 10 past 7, we would continue, okay?
Okay.
Have a wonderful day. Okay, Malak. Okay, Fatima, are you there? Malak and Fatima. 10 minutes are done. So
Yes.
welcome back. Okay, so we would continue right now. So the report writing that we started, of course, we did finish it. We just spoke about the introduction, how we analyzed the question, and how the task would look like. But we do have more samples, of course, and some exercises to be done before you write your own one. But just as today it's the trial session, so I wanted to show you how it would be. And I want to work with you a bit about the structure. We said that there are some complex structure that they are not really known, and that's why we need to use some of them. Yes, you know the complex sentences, and this is just one type of them. When we use the linking words of the subordinating conjunctions like unless, like when you use although, after, before, and this stuff. But there are some other techniques. Let me share with you right now some of these techniques and see how can we adapt them in our writing. Okay, so here 6 techniques. Can you see the screen one?
Yes.
Great. So here we would deal with 6 techniques, inshallah, of complex structure. The first complex structure that would be really effective to be used, it's the third condition. Yes, if conditional, any if conditional would be complex sentence, but not all of them are complex structure. So F0, which is if present simple, this is complex sentence, but not complex structure. First conditional, if present simple, future simple, if you play hard, you will win. This is, yes, complex sentence, but it's not complex structure. Second conditional, some people consider it complex structure and some people not, which is if past simple, then would. Like if I were you, I would help with 1, 2, 3. This is, some people consider complex structure, some people consider it's just simple one. But the one that has to be considered as complex structure, it's the third one. And this happens when it's impossible situation, because the opposite happened. And here I use after if past perfect, like if I had known about the traffic. The second part of the sentence, first of all, I need to use comma if I started with if part. If you started with the second part, no comma is needed. But if you started with the if part, so a comma is needed, because this would be the dependent phrase. After the comma, would have plus past participle. I would have left earlier. So if I had known about the traffic, I would have left earlier. This could be used, for example, in informal email or letter. And it could be used if it is task 6, a report writing. So for example, if more advanced techniques had been utilized, they would have improved the situation better. So any topic of writing, you can implement third condition. When do we use it? We use it when it's opposite to the situation in the past. So if I had known about the traffic, I would have left earlier. So it means that I didn't know and I didn't leave early. So for example, if I had heard about your sickness, I would have contacted you. So this is third condition as well. So using third conditional is important. Although you might know this type of phrase, although you might be using it, but if you didn't use it in your writing, it might affect your writing. You don't have to use this type any other time, but you have to use some of the less common structure or the complex structure, not only complex sentences. Complex sentences are okay, but not the only technique to be used. What I want you to do right now, I want each one of you to think of a phrase using third conditional. Ideas are not there, mister. You can look at any of your writing and find any piece of writing. You sent me 2 pieces of writing for each one of you before. Look at them and find out any idea of them. How can you implement third conditional instead of this one? And tell me the sentence. I'll give you like 3 minutes right now. If you don't want to return back to your piece of writing, totally fine. Think of any sentence. I want to be sure that you can give proper third conditional sentence. If you finished earlier than 3 minutes, go ahead, tell me the sentence. Go ahead, Fatima. Yes, I'm listening. Yes, Fatima.
If I had studied, I could have scored better marks.
Excellent. If I had studied third conditional, I would have scored. That's amazing, Fatima. If you used this in your informal email or letter, for example, so you went to the complex structure. Malak, any idea? Good job, Fatima. Thank you. You still have 3 minutes, Malak, so it's totally fine. Think of any idea and give me any.
Mister,
Yes.
the complex structure, when do we use them?
In any of writing, if you're writing task 5 or task 6, you need to use them. So you would go to the highest band. If you remember when I showed you the marking criteria, the highest band for language, it asked for less common vocab or topic-related vocabulary, and it asked for complex structure. Go ahead, Malak. Yes, Malak.
I was gonna say, if I had known that the milk was spoiled, I wouldn't have used it in the cake.
Excellent, perfect. It's amazing. So you can generate the third conditional phrases in a perfect way. It's not only about how to do it, but it's about using it. So please try to use them in your writing. Excellent, Fatima. Excellent, Malak. Let's go right now to find out another technique of complex structure. So the first one we spoke about, it is the conditional, but it's not the only one. Why? Because we do have more. And one, I wouldn't mention the complex sentences because all of students know it, right? But the other one that we'd speak about, it's called the cleft sentence that I asked you about earlier, but you didn't know. You might know it, but you don't know the name. So here it's a specific formula of a sentence. You need to memorize it as it is. The sentence has to start with the pronoun it. Then verb to be could be present or past. So if it's past, was or were, if it's present, am or is or are. Then a noun clause. A noun clause. What do you mean by noun clause? Like his dedication, the school, the administration, my brother, or any noun, but it's not noun a word. It's a clause. Like the school, the administration, my brother, her dedication, the government. All right. Then relative pronoun, which is who or which or that or whose and so on. Then the continuation of a sentence or the main clause or the main sentence. This is called the cleft sentence. Using it gets your writing to be using complex structure. Here we do have an example or 2 examples. It was her kindness. So it, verb to be in the past was. The noun clause, her kindness. then the relative pronoun who or which or that, so that, then the continuation of a sentence impressed me the most. So it was her kindness that impressed me the most. Although it's a sentence that you could be using, but if you didn't use these in your writing, it doesn't help you to go to. Yes, I might be using different techniques and takes me to complex structure, but I'm telling you about the ones that the achievers use. So try to use some of them. Another example, it is, here verb to be in present, not past. It is my sister. This is the clause. Who? This is the relative pronoun because I'm talking about sister, a human being. Here it was that because kindness, it's abstract noun. So it is my sister who gave me this beautiful necklace. This sentence, I could have said it in a simple way, like, for example, my sister gave me this beautiful necklace, but it wouldn't take me to the highest band. So to take me to the highest band, do it in this way. You need to memorize the formula. It, verb to be, clause, then relative pronoun, then the main clause. It is my sister who gave me this beautiful necklace, or it was her kindness that impressed me the most. Right now, I want cleft sentence from each one of you. Again, any cleft sentence, or if you want to return back to your writing, you can and say. Yes, Malak, go ahead.
It was my brother who broke the vase.
Okay, perfect, amazing. So here it could be an informal email or letter because you are using first person point of view, my brother and so on. So it could be while I'm narrating a situation in task 5. Amazing, Malak. Fatima, take your time. You do have 2 minutes more to prepare. Good job, Malak. I need a cleft sentence, Fatima. Take your time, but quickly. So did you memorize, Malak, the formula right now?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, so it, verb to be, clause, then relative pronoun, and the continuation of a sentence or the main clause. We need to memorize it, or do you know, even if you didn't memorize it, if you wrote many sentences using cleft sentence, it would be stuck to your mind and you'd be finding yourself using it in your writing and in your speaking, because the marking criteria for speaking is somehow similar to this. To go to the highest band, to take the full mark and so on, you need to use some of the complex structure as well. Fatima, did you find it? Look, Fatima, I wouldn't stay here long. If you can't think of one, you can even later after the session send it to me. You do have my WhatsApp account and my Facebook, so you can see. Did you find one?
I think I have something in my
Go
mind,
ahead.
but I don't know if it's correct.
Okay, it's totally fine even if you have mistakes, no worries.
It was my cat that ate the food.
It's correct. It was my cat. So it and was verb to be my cat. It's the noun clause. And then that used that because here it's not human being. So it, my food, or whatever. It's totally fine. I know that the idea might be different from a task to another task, but I wanted to be sure that you know how to create a cleft sentence. So right now we spoke about two types of complex structure: third conditional, not any conditional, third conditional, and cleft sentence. Now we would speak about the third type of complex structure, which is passive voice. Passive voice is not needed in task 5. If it's informal email or letter, don't use passive voice, but use it in task 6, whatever the type of writing, it's article, essay, or review, or even report, we need to use passive voice. Passive voice, it's really simple. We start with the object, verb to be, past participle. So it's written here subject because the object, when you start with it, it's called subject. So for example, I ate the food. So I hear the subject. If I started with the food, which was the object, when I start with it, it would be called the subject. So then verb to be, so the food was eaten by me or whatsoever. So here the book was read. So I didn't say I read or many students read. So the book was, verb to be is important, read. I know that passive is really simple to all of IGCSE students, but we need to revise using it is important. Especially, for example, today we were talking about the introduction of the report writing. We need it in this one when this report is written. So is written here is passive. Is written to highlight the main observations of. For so moreover, comma, some suggestions or some ambit suggestions will be provided or are given and so on. The book was read by many students. The trip was found to be exciting experience. The report will be submitted by the end of the week. Just I need one sentence and we would stop here. So one passive sentence from each of you, please. Are you writing a passive sentence? Could be just oral in case if you want.
Mister, are we supposed to make a sentence?
Yes, that's what I said. So I need a sentence in passive. Any tense, whether past, future, present, anytime.
Good. So can I say the event will be held at the end of the month?
Excellent. So this is passive in future. That's amazing, Malak. Passive, can I use it in task 5 or it should be used in task 6, Malak?
It should be task 6 because it's
Task
formal.
6 because it's supposed to be formal, not informal. Excellent, Malak. Fatima, do you have any sentence about passive?
Not really.
If you created one, so please send it to me on WhatsApp. The other 3 techniques, inshallah, we can speak about them later on. They are the relative clauses and the inversion and the participle clauses. Those are 3 techniques that we can take, inshallah, when we continue the course. The report writing, we started it, we didn't finish it even. So inshallah, next class, but I wanted just to show you how the class could be, how it could go, and so on. And inshallah, the times would be settled, and we would be able to start. If you do have any question for me, yes, go ahead.
So I wanted to have like a deal with you that we solve a past paper together in the session, and then we have another past paper as a homework
Okay,
because
I'll tell
we're
you.
already so late.
Yeah, okay, Fatima, I'll tell you what. Starting solving past papers without knowing the important things that the examiner looks for would affect your level. What do I mean by this? For example, while we are with each other, if you didn't know that this complex structure or what actually should be there in the report writing, I might find, for example, a lot of slang was written. So instead of doing this, we need to know first what should be there. And once we take all of the types of writing, we would start. Of course, reading, I would just tell you about tips and tricks. Students drop box because 1, 2, 3, and so on. Listening and so on, and the speaking. But we need to practice. We need to practice past papers in all, and all of the past papers in the new format would be answered and would be checked. And we would have in the class and we would have as homework. But the point is what? Usually even we do them as homework and we discuss the answers in the class. But the point is what, Fatima? Before answering, I don't like just entering, and this was the point that I was discussing with your dad. I don't like entering just be with my frame of reference or my background information. Why did I take the course? Just to check. I could have just sent them to any assistant and check to me. But I need to know the tips and tricks that makes a student getting the 9 easy and another student struggling to pass 6 or 7. Although both of them speak English really well, both of them are excellent students and so on. So what makes the difference between the student and the other student is, as I told you, the tips and tricks. We will do what you mentioned, but when do we do what you mentioned? It would be inshallah once we understood all of the tips and tricks all of the complex structure, some of the vocab that we would need, notes for writing, special writing. I have to go with the 5 types of writing in details. We have to take some of them, we have to write them first, then we'll go to past papers. But just answering the past papers, so you don't need the course. You need just someone to send them the notes and they would check them to you. If you do have any comment or any feedback, you can ask, of course.
So, Mister, how much sessions will this take?
How the sessions would be?
How much sessions will?
Yeah, how many sessions we would need, you mean? So the sessions would be, we are taking inshallah October, November. So we would need one-to-one speaking session every week. It would be just you and me having the speaking session. It would be usually on Fridays. And we would have 2 classes per week. It's 1 class in case if it's May, June, but because October, November is really close, so 2 classes a week.
Mister, I don't think I'm that good in speaking, and if we took only 1 session speaking per week, that means when I reach the external, I will just have like 6 speaking sessions.
Practice. No, don't worry, because we do have 6 speaking practices before the exam rather than the weekly ones that we take. So every week we take a speaking practice, and so to be sure that how you would be. And before the official exam, we take 6 mock exams for speaking. So 6 mock exams for speaking, this is before the official, rather than the ones that we take weekly. I'll tell you what, in schools, how many speaking practices you take with the examiner, with the teacher? Only 2 per year. Annually, you take 2. Here we would take like 12 before your official one. So don't worry, after 5 or 6, you would find yourself there, because after each one, we give a proper feedback, what you need to work really well on, and what you did well, and so on. So don't worry, and you would be really able.
Mister,
Mm.
I want to ask how many sessions will you have like explaining before we reach the past paper level?
No, not much. Even we would start solving past papers once we finish. Look, if this is a trial session, it's not even the first session. When we take the first session, the homework would be answering past papers. But what is the point? The point when I would give you past papers to be answered, I would give you the reading, the listening, and the speaking from first practice. It would be past papers. Just the writing, I would give you the ones that I taught you. So I don't want you to go write in the same old technique that you used to write and to drop marks again. So what, we would start solving past papers from the first class, but in writing, it would be gradually. Every topic we finish, we would add the writing of it, okay?
Okay.
Okay, if you do have more questions, you can ask, of course. Any more questions? Okay, it's really nice. Don't worry, before the official exam, you would have all of the past papers, writing, reading, listening, were already answered. Speaking practice, don't worry, before the official, inshallah, you would have enough speaking practices before the official to feel confident that you can go and do the best there. So it's not that really hard, it's just about practice, but be dedicated, be committed to the work, so you would be able to do that. It was really nice being with you. If you do have any question, don't hesitate. You can send it to me, whether on WhatsApp or on Messenger, and I'll be there for you. It was nice being with you, and have a wonderful day. Assalamu alaikum. Salam.